Perfect. All right, everybody, listen. So as I'm welcoming the guest of honor for tonight's interview, Mr. Matt Garland, he already gave you his MLS number, so that way everything's official, and he don't get popped.
Word.
But I want y'all to understand. I don't know if y'all saw the post earlier from Earn Your Leisure, where they were talking about the new businessmen wear hoodies and caps and this, that, and the other. We do our suits when we need to. We still got to play that game sometimes, but for the most part, it's a new era coming through this game. And one of the reasons I want to have Matt on here, obviously I know he's one of the best mortgage guys in the country, if not the best in the country. I'm already putting out there. He's going to be #1 this year in 2021.
I like
So,
that.
which I'm sure all you guys are going to help him. All you guys are going to help him do that. We're going to talk about the importance of conventional financing in real estate investing, which is a big part. And somebody already asked the question, how do I start in real estate? And I already started to mention house hacking. So I'm going to start, as a matter of fact, we're going to start there, Matt, and talk a little bit about, FHA financing in house hacking, conventional lending and house hacking, and what's the pros, the cons, what should people be looking for, what should they be doing. And for the winner, you're going to get the home buyer's blueprint. So you're already going to learn all that in depth, but we're going to give you a little smidgen, little taste tonight.
Let's do it. So house hacking is, for those of you who don't know what house hacking is basically you're renting out rooms in your house, you're living in the multifamily, renting out all the apartments, maybe living in the basement. The whole goal of house hacking is for you to live for free or basically supplement majority of your mortgage payment. And that way you have the ability to save your money so that way you can buy your next real estate deal and you kind of rinse and repeat the cycle. What I like to teach is how to use financing, right, to successfully complete your house hack. Now, when you're going with FHA loans, you can go as low as 3.5% down on multifamily properties up to a 4-unit property. FHA is the ideal program to use when you're trying to buy a multifamily as a primary residence to complete your house hack. Conventional loans you can use also, but it will require more of a down payment. We're a fan of using as little money as you can as possible to secure your real estate deals. And that's why ideally, if you can go a low down payment with your primary residence for house hacking, it's always the ideal. So what my platform is about is really teaching everybody real estate financing, because in order for you to be a successful real estate investor, there's 2 areas of real estate that you need to master, and that's the finance section and construction. And once you
Amen.
Amen. Once you learn those 2 aspects of real estate, then you will be a very successful real estate investor. Obviously there's other things you need to learn, but those 2 things right there are, the Achilles heel to a lot of people when it comes to buying real estate. Now, I was just on YouTube Live today, and a guy came on my YouTube Live, and he was talking about how he used the FHA 203K loan to buy a duplex in Dallas, Texas. And he paid $150,000 for the property. He put $100K worth of rehab in the property, all with using 3.5% down FHA loan. He lives in 1 unit. His mortgage payment is $1,693, Harold. And he Airbnb'd the 2nd unit because he lives close to a hospital. He's collecting $4,000 in Airbnb fees this month alone.
Woo!
Like, guys, this is happening every single day all around the country, where there's so many ways where you can house hack. So this man is going to make all of his money back in less than 12 months that he put up for down payment and closing costs, and be able to save to now buy the next property. So that's a house hack, right? That's a very successful house hack. So I would encourage everybody who's watching this live, who's going to watch this on a replay, if you are a first-time home buyer and you want to build a real estate portfolio, please learn FHA conventional guidelines, so that way you can understand how you can acquire and exit because the exit is just as important as when you're acquiring the property. So you have to learn both sides of the fence. And where people fail to complete these successful house hacks is where they're only focused on acquiring. They're not focused
Correct.
on the exit strategy. So this is what we teach. So that way you guys don't make the same mistakes that Harold and myself and many others have made early in our career, because we didn't have, there was no Instagram or YouTube's and all this other
Nah.
when we first came in the business. So we had to learn by trial and error. So yeah, so that's
There was infomercials.
There was infomercials, but you know, I know for me, I looked at infomercials as scams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, listen, no, no money down, this, that, and the other, the Carlton Sheets of the world, all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm like, yo, I'm in New York, that ain't gonna work.
Nah. Let me ask you a question, Harold. Is this thing?
Yes, sir.
Making comments right now?
Yeah, they are making comments.
I can't see no comments. The last comment I see is Real Mama Dawn saying, "I can hear you, Matt."
Oh wow, that's weird. The last thing is like, I guys, thank you, man. Good information.
Let me jump back off and come back on, because Instagram.
Nope.
I'm gonna jump off and come back on because I can't see nothing.
Now, while we're waiting for Matt to come back on, if you just jumped on, one of our requirements on this live, because we're giving this free information in these gems, is to press the airplane and share this with your people and let them know that we're learning this kind of information right now. Also, if you're not following me or Matt, you better be doing so right now. All right, you better be doing so right now. This is every Wednesday night. We give this information. We're a network of information givers and sharers. So listen, make sure y'all following us. Make sure you're sharing this information with everybody. Press the little airplane. Let everybody know you're here. Let them come through and get this information.
That's a fact. Share this, man. Now I can see the comments, man. I don't know. It was stuck at 40 people, and I'm like, wait a minute. There got to be somebody talking in these comments right now. Like,
now it's probably when you zoomed off that person, whoever tried to call you at the time, it probably stuck it right there.
What's
you
up,
know what I mean?
What's up, Maxine? How are you?
Oh, by the way, I'll give you a little hack. If you don't want to get a phone call during your live or YouTube or whatever, go to airplane mode
and put it on airplane mode.
Put everything. Yeah, and then put the Wi-Fi back on, and then that's it.
Yeah.
They can't call.
Yeah. That's what I be doing.
All right. So now let's clear up some things for some people real quick. So everybody wants to know why, when we say house hack, you should go 4, 3, 2, 1 if you're doing the multifamily route. Can you explain that to everybody so that this is now cleared and they don't get confused on why they can't go from a 2 to a 3 or a 3 to a 4 using FHA?
Well, look, you got to look at, first of all, when you say, what's up, Gemini? When you say that you're using any loan with a minimum down payment of like 3%, 3.5%, 5%, anything like that, those programs are designed for owner-occupied properties, right? That's first things first. It needs to be your primary residence for at least 12 months, right? That's first things first. Now, when you buy your duplex, for example, or you buy your single family, which a lot of us do, we'll go buy a single family first, knowing that we have limited capital, right? We don't have a lot of money stacked up. So you want to go buy that nice home in a nice area, because that's the American dream. Suburbs, picket fence, dogs, barbecues, bar mitzvahs, right? American dream, right? That's what we want. Most of us come from the hood and et cetera, et cetera. And when we buy homes, we want to get out the hood. We want to go to the suburbs. I was one person who did that too, right? Now, when you want to go buy that multifamily, and if you own a single family already, the bank is not going to believe that you're going to move from a 1 family to a 3 family. Because 9 times out of 10, your 1 family is going to be in a good neighborhood, and that multifamily is going to be in the hood. So what's the motivation behind leaving your 1 family to go into your multifamily? Now, in certain situations, it could make sense, right? If you upgrade, if you go into Park Slopes, Brooklyn, New York, you know what I'm saying? That might warrant you now going to a multifamily, because that's a more expensive neighborhood. So if your multifamily is located, if it's located in a higher class area, it's more expensive, then it could make sense. It's a better school district. There's a reasonable motivation. Right? But if it's not, then underwriting is going to have a very hard time with believing that you're going to move into this next property using an FHA loan, and you own a one family and you go into a four family and you want to use FHA for that. That's called occupancy fraud. Occupancy fraud is a huge thing in my world. And underwriters are not stupid. They have Google just like you do. So they're looking at where you live, where's this property located, how far is it, what's the demographics, what's the crime rates, what's the school districts, comparing it to your stuff. They're researching to make sure that they're, number one, not assisting you committing occupancy fraud, because what people don't understand, when my name is on the dotted line as the loan officer, and when that underwriter signs off on that loan and approves that loan, if we get audited a year from now, 2 years from now, and it comes up that it was some fraudulent activity, then we are risking our licenses. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to put ourselves at risk just so you can buy a fucking property. I'm sorry. You could kick rocks.
Right? That's all. That's our whole livelihood. So I tell people that all the time. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, like, and it's not being nosy as hell, Gemini. It's don't commit fraud. It's very simple. Like, don't commit fraud, right? Because if it was that simple, then everybody would do it, and the whole system would collapse. Because then people will just go out here and buy these properties with minimum down, and then when it's time, tenant's not paying, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to pay, and you're going to default because you're like, I don't really care. I already made the money back. You understand what I'm saying? That's what happened in the Wild Cowboy days with the subprime crisis, because people were able to buy real estate with just having a pulse. Only thing you had to do, the only credit criteria was to be alive. And you can buy multiple properties at the same time because no one was checking. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta buy smart. If you know you want to buy multiple rental properties, you need to make sure that you don't go with that single family or that duplex. That single family or that townhouse or that condo, if your goal is to buy rental properties. Be smart. Go 4-3-2-1, or go 3-2-1, or go 2-2-1. Buy your multifamilies first, because you can put down your minimum down payment, especially if it's your first time buying a house. You can live in it for a year, and then you can get out of there and go repeat that process, and it makes your life a little bit simpler. Now, when you downgrading, you're going from a 4 to a 3, it's a downgrade, right? So an underwriter will believe, hey, I live in a 4, but you know what? I want to go live in a 3 family now, right? Because I don't want to live in a 4 no more. That makes sense, right? That always makes sense. So you have to maneuver a certain way. But the problem with society, especially in our community, is that we all want a microwave effect, right? It's like oatmeal. You put it in for 60 seconds and you can eat it. That's what we want. And we also want our cake and eat it too. We want to be able to say, you know what, why can't I just buy this and then go buy something else? Like, what difference does it make? Or, you know what, I have a house, but my wife don't have a house. And why can't she do FHA? People say that to me all the time, right? Here's the answer. It's your wife. You have a marital residence. You're married. It's public record that you are married. The address that you live in is going to report on her credit report, because I'm sure she's using it for some sort of mailing address or some sort of credit, right? So it's public record that you're married, and it's public record where you live. We're going to find out. So, and when you file your taxes, what does it say? Even if I have people say, yo, my taxes, she's not on it. But your taxes probably say married, but filing separately. We're going to know you're married. So even if your wife doesn't have a property, doesn't mean she can use FHA. It means that if she wants to use FHA, are you in the family moving out of that house and going to the next house is the question you have to ask yourself. So the best bet to all my couples, especially if you're engaged, divide and conquer before you get married. Make your life as easy as possible. Don't get married, then say, let's go buy these properties. Do all of that while you're engaged and you know this is husband and wife, and you both go buy for a family. and you both go live in each one of them, and then you house hack your life away, and then you get married.
Absolutely. Someone asked a quick question. What if I already bought a single family? How do I move?
Easy. Like if you already purchased a single family and you want to buy investment properties, it's very simple. You got to have the capital, right? There's many ways to get the capital. It's either you can pull it out of the current home that you have, because everyone who purchased, if you purchased 2 years ago, you have
You
equity right now.
you still good.
You have equity. Go pull out a line of credit, right? If you want to go invest. If you don't have that, learn how to develop a business and get business credit, because now you can use business credit, business loans, et cetera, to now fund your real estate ventures. If you have the knowledge, you can raise capital, right? Most people think they need money. Well, technically you don't if you know the information, and you know people who have money who don't have the time or the information, but now you can operate. You don't have to be 100% owner of real estate. Please don't let that go over your head, guys. You don't have to be 100% owner of real estate. You can be 10% owner, 20% owner, and put no capital up, but you can just be the operator and get your ownership foot in the door and build from there. So there's different ways that you can do this. If you own a single family property, the best bet I would give, the best advice I can give a lot of y'all is, if you retain the knowledge and you know people who have the money, you can now raise that capital and become like an investor, and make sure you're doing your shit right so you can pay them back. So there's many different ways that you can skin a cat. You just have to learn all the formulas.
Let me jump in there too. Listen, guys, if you start a business, let's say you got a skill, you can consult, you can do different things. Just so you know, part of that business is, as I'm creating this business, all my expenses, I can write those things off. Just so you guys know, there's 400 plus more write-offs for a business than there is for an individual. Now, when you do that, and let's say you're doing an S corp, you can write that through your personal expenses. And when you own a single family, guess what? You'll get a bigger tax return at the end of the year. You can take that nut, either save it if it's not enough, and continue to add that to it, and then do what you need to do. My man Welby's on here. He even told you that's how he started his real estate career. He hustled, did what he needed to do, got a good tax return, and started with 13 grand. And now this dude is doing 6 houses, and we're in the second month of the year.
Shout out to Welby, because I can't even read him because the comments froze again. But shout out to Welby.
Yeah, no, I think it's same thing. Oh no, mine just came through. Okay.
Yeah, mine's froze again. But shout out to Welby. Welby's a prime example. And look, learn from folks who are active, right? Learn from folks like Harold. Learn from folks like Welby. These guys are active, right? They're investing. Learn from them and take that information and run.
And listen, I told some of y'all, if y'all want to partner with me, I'll let you do that. We just got to talk and make sure you qualified and all that kind of other stuff. But if you want to do some things with me, we can talk about that and make it work. So that way you can learn what to do and how to hustle and how to be part of the game. And then, my man, Jude just saluted us. Jude Bernard, salute my king.
Shout out
to you.
I mean? I can't even see these freaking comments on Instagram. Y'all got to get this together. I got my guys in here. I can't even say it. Shout out.
Nah, it's because somebody tried to call you again. That's every time somebody try to call you, messing you up.
Nah, it was my battery was about to die this time.
Oh, okay. You know what I mean? But so, all right. So now we covered some of the things that in conventional, let's say FHA with the house hacking. Now, let's say somebody wants to say, hold up, I saved a little capital. I can't use FHA. What is my options there? Like, what's my down payment options? What does the bank look for if I want to put how much down, and et cetera, et cetera? So let's say they want to move that way.
Oh, so if you want to straight invest, look, if you're doing straight investment loans, you have a couple different options you can go. You can go conventional financing, which is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? Those are full documentation loans, meaning your income has to qualify to get the loan, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're doing a single family, you have to put down 15%. And if you're doing a multifamily, it's 25%. You can do asset-based lending, which is based off the income that the property is going to generate, and we're using that to qualify. There's no W-2s, tax returns, none of that stuff, and everything's going to be in your LLC's name. That's typically 20 to 25%, depending on which lender you're going to go to. So those are like the two common avenues when you're talking about financing ways is conventional and asset-based. The most common, conventional financing is the cheapest money on the block, right? Right now,
Absolutely.
conventional financing right now, 30-year fixed rates on investment properties like in the threes, right? It's absolutely the cheapest I've ever seen investment property rates ever in my career. But in asset base, you can be somewhere in that high 5s to 7 range, right? And and folks will take that all day long because with a conventional loan, they're going to ask for your all your financial documents, your firstborn, your blood type. They may ask for your first pair of Jordans. They may ask for your wife's prom dress and everything like that just to get you approved, right? So it's going to be paperwork intensive, where most investors don't want to deal with that. They'd rather take the higher rate as long as it's still cash flowing, because you can go asset based and you don't have to pretty much give up your whole life story, your blood type, your kidney, and your damn intestines to get a loan, right? So it's a little bit more streamlined to get approved for the financing because it's based off the overall asset performing. So
now, is that still only in the 4-unit or less range, or is that possible in the higher numbers? Is that just strictly commercial?
Nah, I mean, those properties, when you're talking residential asset-based loans, they're underwritten like commercial properties. So it's really like a commercial underwrite, but in residential world. But yeah, you can do that for commercial. Commercial is 5+ units. So you can definitely do that with commercial, where it's strictly cash flow. We're looking at everything's in LLC. So it's the same philosophy as the asset base. Asset base and commercial is the same underwriting philosophies.
Yeah. I want to make sure everybody understands the difference so they get it. So now let's talk about, let's say for instance, they go the BRRRR route, right? They buy, they rehab, they rent it out, and now they want to refinance. What's the qualifications? What's needed for them to? Is it the same process? What's going on?
I mean, it's all the same thing, right? Everything's the same thing, but you gotta look. If you're trying to do a BRRRR strategy, you have to understand. You have to understand your acquisition numbers, but when you buying, you have to buy with the exit in mind, because part of the BRRRR is refinance and repeat. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Those are the two most important things, right?
R's, yep.
The 2 R's, right? Refinance and repeat. So if you're buying, let's just talk this through for a second. You're buying a hard money loan. Y'all guys may need to write this shit down. If you're buying a property, say a 4-unit property, it's a piece of crap, and you need hard money to rehab it. Most hard money lenders will cap your ARV. ARV is after renovated value. So your after renovated value, they'll cap you at 65, maybe 70% on the
depending
ARV.
on your track record.
Depending on your track record, experience, et cetera, et cetera. I caution you should be 65% or lower, right? Over 65%, if you don't have the experience, you could be potentially screwing yourself, right? And I'm going to explain why in a minute. But I would say 65% or lower on your ARV when you're buying this asset that needs the renovation. So now when you rehab the property, you need to understand what's the max LTV for your next lender for the refinance. Most asset-based lenders, if you're trying to do a rate and term or even a cash out refinance, they're going to cap you at a 70% LTV. LTV stands for loan to value. Some will go up to 75%, but that's very aggressive in this market, right? So if they're going to cap you, let's just say a 75% LTV on a refinance, but if you purchase with an ARV at 70, you only have a 5% cushion, you know what I'm saying, for you to refinance out of that hard money loan to go into that asset base. Now, let's just say during your rehab, it takes you 6 months, a year, because COVID is happening right now. everything is on delay around the country when it comes to construction, permits, the whole 9 yards. So you got to expect more delays right now. Now, you go to refinance. What if the market corrects itself? What if there's a correction of 2%, 3%, 5%, 10% of your market? But now you just purchased at a 70 LTV, a 70 ARV, and you can only go to 75%. But if that market corrects itself, you just killed your entire LTV. Now you can't refinance out of your hard money unless you're going to put up more capital to pay down so you can refinance. So it's very important that when you guys are trying to burr, right, you need to understand at the time of acquisition, what's my ARV? And at the time of acquisition, who's the lender I'm going to use to refinance out of this? And what are their max LTVs? And then you plan accordingly from there to make a wise decision. And that's why understanding the most two important parts of a successful real estate investor is financing, understanding real estate financing, and understanding construction. Because that construction comes part of your ARV. If your construction costs are out of whack and you don't understand these contractors, C-O-N, capital C-O-N, lowercase tractors, right? Lowercase tractors, but contractors.
Tractors, yes, sir.
Banging you out in rehab costs, every penny counts towards that ARV now. So the more money you're into this project, the worse it can be for you on the refinance. So you have to understand these aspects when you're out here moving and shaking.
So let me jump in and add some more for your folks, because some of you asked about commercial and stuff like that. So I want you guys to be clear on something. What he's talking about when they're looking at that ARV specifically is more so on that 4-unit and lower. Once you get into that commercial realm, they want to see what your net cash flow is on your property. And that's how they're going to determine the value of your property. It's not just comps. They're going to take comps into consideration, but they're going to take more the cash flow. So let's say you buy a property. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you buy a 6-unit and you rehab it, you fix it. But you went ham and you put a little too much money into it. And then now your rents are, your market rents, it only could be what it could be. And now you're only making, let's say you thought you was going to make $3,000 a month. You're making $2,000. That $2,000 determines what they think your property is worth and what its value. And you can mess up your ability to cash out refi and or refi in general. So be mindful. See, these are the things when we tell you, think of all your numbers and understand the finance game. The way you buy is critically important. That's like he just said, because you need to, let's try to stay below a certain percentage in your total cost. But you need to understand what that end strategy is going to be and how you're going to exit. Both are important. You need to think about the end in mind, but then once you get the end, how am I going to get the beginning? You understand what I'm saying? The alpha and the omega. You need to figure that out real fast.
100%. So, income based. He's really talking appraisal talk to you guys right now. So residential is based on a sales approach appraisal, where we're looking at those comps, and commercial is income based. And that's what the appraiser is looking for to determine the value. Very important information that you guys need to understand. Commercials are a whole different ball game, guys. Do not jump into commercial if you ain't even done a few deals in residential. Don't play yourself.
Yeah.
You got to go to undergrad first. You got to do 4 years. And then you got to graduate. And then you go to graduate school. You don't go from high school to undergrad to get your PhD. There's a reason why there's undergrad for a reason. Stay in your damn lane.
Absolutely. And the only way, and listen. And the only way I'll jump on that, if you want to be if you want to be an assistant to a graduate professor or something like that, maybe that's a good way to learn. But don't be trying to jump into something on your own. I promise you're gonna get eaten alive, because it's a whole different game. But that's why I said in this talk, I gave you a little touch, but we're talking about the importance of conventional financing in the real estate game. So somebody asked the question. Let's see.
I know
you can't see the comment.
It's so whack, y'all. I hate Instagram.
So listen, and that's why listen. I'm moving away from it, but I figured we'll start here. If we're buying a 4-unit through hard money lender after renovated value, they may give you 75%. Okay, no, that's a comment. Let me see what the questions.
What was that? What is it? They may give you 75%.
No, like what you was mentioning. I guess he was repeating what you said, that some people might cap you at 75, some are 70. on average, most people will cap you at 70
Yeah,
on
yeah.
average.
On average, it's 70. 75 is aggressive for a multi.
Now, somebody, this is interesting. So someone's asking, what is the con of using not the Naca program to use the burst strategy?
I don't even see why the hell would you ever want to refinance out of Naca ever in life.
I was gonna let you say. I
0.5%. Why are you refinancing out of that? Like,
that's the one you keep.
Yeah,
you don't refi out of that.
You don't touch
because
the
and Lady Millionaire, let me explain to you why. Naca, for the most part, you're getting almost 100% financing, unless you're buying down the rate a little bit. So what are you refining for?
Yeah,
the reason the burp. So here's the burp strategy, and there's the reason why. So I'm buying distressed. I'm rehabbing the distressed property to force value to create an ARV that I believe it will create. Then I'm going to rent it out so that way it's paying for everything, and then I'm going to refinance out of the hard money or the more expensive loan so that way I have a lower interest rate to juice up my cash flow back to me. Once I do that and I get my money back that I put in, I'm going to repeat the process. That is the whole purpose of BRRRR. If you get Naca, sit your ass in the Naca house and don't you dare change anything. Like, then start saving your money because you ain't paying nothing, really, and then go buy an investment property. But Naca, don't, you can check a live out on I had with Renaissance 125 on that. Keep the Naca alone. Leave it alone. That one, that's a beautiful number.
Shout out to Renaissance 125, man. He killed the Naca program. They divided and conquer. And they got over $1 million worth of assets because of the Naca program. So shout out to him and his whiz.
So this was a great question. So somebody said, should I get approved for the FHA loan before I go look for the property, or find a property then get approved for the FHA loan?
How you finding the property? You know what you're approved for.
Again, I didn't want to give the answers. I figured I just I let the mortgage guy tell you what it is.
Guys, we got to get out. Like, you cannot go house shopping without knowing what you can afford. It's not even a matter of what you can get approved for. There's a difference between eligibility and affordability, right?
Thank you.
You can go look at this house and it's all fine and dandy, but can you really afford that house? A bank will give you a loan if you meet the credit criteria. You got to remember, in the conventional world, when we approve you, we're not looking at your net income. If you're a W-2 employee, we're looking at your gross income, meaning before taxes. So if you make $100,000 a year, that's $8,333 a month gross income. We're using that. But after taxes, you're probably only taking home $4,500 to $5,500, depending on, your deductions and everything like that. And if you got a mortgage payment of $3,500, $4,000, you're house rich and cash poor. You can't even pay for your utilities, basically, let alone your car note, your car insurance, your child care. Shit, you didn't even eat yet, and you got all these bills to pay. So there's a big difference between eligibility and affordability, guys.
So everybody, I broke some down for you. So he just told you so if you make $100,000, that's $333. Mm-hmm. So you're probably going to be somewhere in the 27 to 30% tax rate on the federal side. We're not even talking about state side yet. So that, let's say we minus 30%, that's $5,833. That's before your, whatever you did for your healthcare. If you're doing your 401k or anything else that's coming out of deduction. So you might, if you're lucky, see 60% of that check by before it's said and done, 60 to 65% of it. So understand what he's saying to you. You may be able to, get the loan. Can you afford the loan? Like, don't unless you find something that's like a steal, and you're gonna eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a year, and because in a year that equity is gonna be there and stuff like that, there might be a case for that. But in most areas of the country, very few places, there's places like big cities tend to be able to have their appreciation, but most other places like the Midwest, y'all don't move that fast. You might get 3-4% a year if you're lucky. Lately, because of the market, obviously things have accelerated, but that's not the norm, people.
Yeah, no,
this will correct itself.
It's going to correct.
This is going to correct itself within a year or so. You know what I mean? So be clear on that. It ain't going to stay like that forever. Right now, it's because inventory is tight.
Honestly, 2 years.
2 years? Okay.
Yeah, I think 2 years because they kicking shit down the can right now.
I agree with that.
So,
Okay,
so,
that's fair.
so I think more so 2 years we're gonna start seeing some sort of correction, some more inventory hit the market, because now there's no more forbearance and no more moratoriums on evictions and foreclosures and stuff like that. And now judges are really like, hey, we gave you enough time, like you got to kick rocks basically. So I think 2 years we're gonna start seeing a year and a half to 2 years is going to be a flux of inventory come to the market. But Harold's absolutely right. Don't be fooled by this market right now. This market can get you all messed up if you're
Yeah,
not
this,
prepared.
and I'll steal a line from my man Welby, aka At My Best. He's like, yo, you don't want to be stuck with the hot potato.
Nah, you
You know,
don't.
you don't want
You don't want to be the last one at the
to.
party.
Yep, yeah, and a lot of people were, you know what I mean, when the first crash came around. So
Yeah.
you got to be mindful of these things and be considerate. That's why you look at numbers and use things like the 70% rule on, and what Matt was saying, being even more conservative, 65%. So that way you have cushion. God forbid the market drops, you still have some equity or room where you didn't overpay. You're not underwater on your loan. Now, there's some people during that craziness, they were underwater, but they did it. They bought it right and enough that their rents were paying their mortgage, so they survived. And over time, they've made it back. But if you ain't in that situation, and you tend to stop paying, and you got those people that decide, I'm in an eviction moratorium, I just don't want to pay because I don't want to pay. That could become a situation as well. Hold on, let me see. A question just popped in. Hold on, what we got here? Let's see. If is a FHA 203K loan worth it for first home if I don't have experience with rehabs?
Yeah, absolutely. Because FHA 203K is a training wheel, right?
Correct.
It's going to give you those training wheels which you need to learn the construction process. And here's why I say that. With an FHA 203K, you have a person, they're a HUD consultant, right? That HUD consultant acts like a project manager. They are the liaison between the contractor, you, and the bank. Their job is to protect you and the bank to make sure the contractor, remember, capital CON, contractor, doesn't con you, right? So that HUD inspector is there every step of the way to make sure all T's are crossed, all I's are dotted, because they won't release the draw. A draw is how the contractors get paid, right? So that consultant is there to hold your hand every step of the way. So yes, 203Ks. I've had so many success stories with 203Ks with home buyers. Their first time, their first rodeo, doing 100K worth of rehab, 50K worth of rehab, 250K worth of rehab. I've had first time home buyers take single family properties, convert them to 3-family properties using 203Ks. There's a lot that you can do with a 203K. The Home Buyers Blueprint Volume 2, which is going to come out very soon, is the rehab pack, where I'm going to break down 203Ks, Fannie Mae home styles, hard money loans, all the rehab loans that's available in the marketplace today, so you can have that proper education when you're going into those.
Absolutely. So here's the thing, folks. What's the interesting piece about the 203K? Like he just mentioned, you have the guys that are there to help keep. And now, just so you know, the contractor has to be financially strong enough to not get paid the complete job until it's done. You're only going to get, like he said, draws and pieces of it. So they still have to be financially strong to handle that. Second thing, what I would suggest to you guys, which I've seen some people unfortunately get caught up in this, do not put yourself into all the other units. Some people, you over rehab in where there's no money to be made from it, right? So it doesn't need chandeliers. It doesn't need marble, stone. You don't need none of that stuff. Clean, nice, livable. Obviously, there's ways to make things look pretty without spending, champagne money. But be smart, and especially in the rental units, it has to be clean, decent, solid. You good to go. Yeah, you don't need Brazilian walnut, Brazilian teak wood, none of that stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you gotta.
If you know you're a rental and the game plan is to continue to hack your life away. And sorry, I gotta pack up my bags. I just realized it's 10 o'clock. I gotta get the hell out of here.
Holy.
I'm still at the office, guys.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Wifey's probably hitting you up.
No, she good. what I was saying, yeah, if you know it's going to be a rental for your future, right? You don't need to go out here and spend all this excess money on your rehab. You got to be smart with it because again, that tears into your budget, that mess with ARVs and LTVs and et cetera, et cetera. So you want to be smart with your rehabs, like Harold said.
Now, I hope somebody's screen recording this just in case IG decides to flip out on me. It's happened to me in the past.
You know, IG would do it.
Yeah, yes, they have. Yes, they have. So as you can see, our guest of honor is about to get ready to jump. So make sure you throw your questions real quick before he runs.
I'm here.
Let's see.
We can keep
okay. No, you good. You good. I know. I just want to make sure they're not lollygagging. And if you're not sharing this information with people, we're gonna curse you out. If you have a condo loan in another country in my name, will it show up when? Hold on, let me read this back. If I have a condo loan in another country in my name only, will it show up when applying for FHA here?
No, it's not in America. We don't care about that shit.
Yeah, that's well, yeah.
It's probably not even reported to the U.S. credit.
Correct. Okay.
If it's reported to U.S. credit, then that's something different.
Oh, so somebody asked, what kind of loan do I need to buy a quad, a 4-family in my LLC name? There's a couple of answers to that.
They said what kind of what? Say that again.
What kind of loan do I need if I'm buying a 4-family in my LLC name?
You need an asset-based loan. Asset-based will have you will get you right. You do an asset-based, you keep it in your LLC name. Remember, your LTVs are not probably gonna be 70 max, 75%. But you can do an asset-based loan, 660 credit score. Typically, even though it's in your LLC name, your personal is still going to get ran. So you're going to have at least a 660 credit score. But yeah, you can do that.
And then I'll answer this. So I'm buying my second home to live in. Can I rent out my primary right now? Yeah, you can. Why not?
100%. And we can use that departing rental income to help you qualify.
There you go. Look at that. Let's listen to that hack, folks. Listen to that hack.
Super hack.
That's a super hack. There you go. Let's see. Will interest rates stay low next year? That's a kind of a
let me
crystal ball question.
I don't know who the hell asked that question, right? But the comments are closing. So I'm gonna tell you right now, no one has a crystal ball. First and foremost, the predictions are yes, they will be. But who the hell knows? Real estate is all about timing. Interest rates is even more about timing. The market doesn't wait for nobody. The market doesn't care what your plans are, your goals are. You want to save more money. You want to get an 800 credit score. The market doesn't care. The market changes every 32 seconds when the market is open. So when it stays low, who the hell knows? That's why you need to act now because it's low now.
There you go. Here's another great question. This one's a good one. If my husband has a better credit score, but I make more, can I use his score and my income to qualify us?
I don't know. No. No.
So yeah, in a situation like that where she has a lower credit, but let's say they both have the credit score to qualify. They have the 620, 660, whatever the case is, but one obviously makes more than the other. Can they just file together and can it still work? But they're going to who they're going to take as far as the credit score?
The lowest of the two. So
there you go.
So when we qualify you for a mortgage, we look at and if you both are on the mortgage, it's always the lower of the two scores we're looking at. So if you have a 760 and your spouse has a 640, then for interest rates and program qualifications, we're looking at the 620. We're not looking at the 740. The 740 is irrelevant. Even if the 620 makes less money, it's irrelevant. We're only looking at the 620 for qualifications. Now, both incomes are going to be used to qualify for the deal, but interest rates are going to be based off that lower credit score all the time. And that's you have a situation where, well, my husband makes the money, but he has a 580, and I don't make enough money, but I have a 780. Can we use his income? No, because he don't meet the credit
criteria. He's transitioning, so that's why he's a little frozen for a second, folks. There you go.
Yeah, my bad.
You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Nah, you good.
What y'all hear last?
Nah, so he said that, so he doesn't meet the credit criteria, so they can't use his income.
Correct. You got to meet the credit criteria. So if you're going for FHA, if the bank is saying the minimum credit score is 600, and if your husband got below that, but he has the money, then guess what? He don't qualify. We can't use nothing of the husband.
Okay. I got, what's the ideal debt to income ratio for acquiring a loan?
Depends on the program. All depends on the program. Every program has a different DTI requirement. So it really all depends on the program, right? If you go on FHA, again, affordability and eligibility, two different things. If you're going for FHA, the max debt to income ratio is 55%, right?
Yep.
But think about that. That's 55% of your gross income. So if you have a 55% debt to income ratio, that means your true debt to income ratio is like 75%, 80%. That means your house rich and your cash poor. You're damn near foreclosure.
You're one check away from a foreclosure.
Yeah, real talk.
Oh, one emergency away, we'll say. Not even better.
You're one emergency away from a disaster.
And this, I'm going to answer this question for somebody. Can you house hack if you already have a home? Yes. If you've been in that home for more than 12 months, you can look to purchase another home using conventional financing and sometimes FHA, depending on the situation.
Correct.
Let's see if anything else I could jump on here. Who else? What's my most recent question? Thoughts on, well, you might have a little more insight into this since you lend nationally. Thoughts on the Texas market. We are currently in New York and looking to relocate.
Well, go today. Fuck New York.
Hey! I'm like Frank Sinatra. I love New York. Cut it out.
Man, fuck New York, man. I love New York too, but fuck New York.
Now, listen, the person who asked that question, I apologize, I didn't see who it was. You can look at places like Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston. Certain parts of Houston are nice as well. And there's some like neighboring towns around those places that if you're looking for the suburbs, do your research, of course, but there is some opportunities there. And there's a lot of companies that are starting to move their headquarters and our operations to Texas. So there may be some employment opportunities there as well. So
look,
that's my insight.
Fuck New York, man. New York is dead right now. It's cold. It's 20. What's the weather? It's 30 degrees right now. It's freezing. My car is frozen. Like, do you want to really live this New York life? I know I don't. I want to get the hell out of Dodge. I'm tired of the winters. My bones are getting old. I need to get the hell out of here. So if you have the opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge, you better go to Texas and get you a mansion for $300,000. The hell out of here.
Well, I mean, listen, the way Texas has been moving, it might be like 450 now, but.
Well, that's better than 1.5 million here.
I know. Well, listen, trust me, I know. Let me see. If your FHA loan isn't reporting, hold on, let me bring this up so I can read it better. If your FHA loan isn't reporting to credit due to a discharge bankruptcy, can you qualify for an FHA loan?
Probably not.
There's the answer, folks. I mean, again, he's being real with y'all. Just want to give you the truth.
I don't sugarcoat nothing. So if you're new to me, welcome. I apologize for profanity, but this is how I roll. Harold, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
No, you good.
My bad. I had to get out the back cave. The fucking gate is mad loud. But Harold, you know how you should have had a disclaimer before I came on here and said this is potty mouth.
Yeah. Well, he's a potty mouth and he's very transparent. We'll use that word.
Very, very transparent.
Here's another good one. If you improved in one state, can you buy in another?
Sure.
Yeah, it's based on your income, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
And you know, debt and stuff like that. Is 2.99 a good rate right now for a conventional refinance?
I don't know your situation. Like, I don't know.
It sounds good.
I don't know. I don't know your loan amount. I don't know the program. I don't know your credit score. I don't know your DTI. I don't know. How much are you paying for the 2.99? You could be paying 6 points for that 2.9. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to get an asshole or nothing. But those type of questions I can't answer. Because I don't know.
Here's another one. Here's another one that's going to be a situation question. What's the real way to find the best rate for an FHA refi?
What's the best way to find a rate for an FHA?
The best rate for an FHA refi.
What's the best rate to you? Like what's the best rate? Like when people say that to me, right? What's the lowest rate? Like what? Like what are you saying? Like you guys got to understand how the game works. And when I hear questions like that, it's no disrespect. It just shows a lack of education because you don't really understand how the markets work and how the programs work, right? One bank could be at 2.25, right? And you think, oh, this is a great rate, but they may be charging you 2 points for that 2.25, but the other bank was telling you 2.5, but it was with no points. And you decided to go with the one that had the 2.25 because you like, oh, the rate was lower, but you just paid 2% higher in fees for no reason to save $20. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because you really don't know what you're looking at. You really don't. And I'm not trying to look. Again, I can't see the comments right now. But I don't want nobody to think I'm trying to be rude and out of order. I'm just trying to keep it straight, real with you. Learn the game, yo. It's either you're going to be sold or you're going to be sold, right? And you got to learn the game because these banks will sell you like, oh, my rate is lower, my rate is lower, my rate is lower, but you're not paying attention to your fees. And you're getting banged out for a rate that you shouldn't be getting banged out for. So don't ask what's the lowest rate you can get. Like, understand the game, and you won't have to ask those type of questions. You know what I'm saying? That's why y'all need to.
So I'm absolutely, and whoever wins it tomorrow is going to be phenomenal.
How many people are we giving this away to?
So right now I'm giving it. I said was one. I was giving 1 hour consultation and then one blueprint. But if you want to talk about something else, let me know.
Give them 3. Let's give 3 out today.
All right, we're doing 3. So tomorrow I'm going to pick 3 winners. Now, so for a bonus, you got to share this live. God willing, it lets me save it. So, and I'm gonna add you. I'm gonna put you an extra name in the pot when I shake it up. One of the things I want everybody to understand something. So I'm gonna tell you something I used to tell some of my buyers when they used to fight over me about purchasing a house and the price was slightly, let's say 10 grand, 15 grand higher, or like the seller doesn't want to budge and things of that nature. And in this market, there's really not that conversation. But I would tell them because they didn't understand the numbers. I said, let's go to a mortgage calculator and let's just play with that 15 grand. I said, do you really want to give up the house that you love for $13.43 a month? Right. So understand how this game works. Like you got to know the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Men and women lie. Numbers don't. And you got to understand what you're reading. And when they send you like, you know, your truth in lending and all that kind of, like you got to know what you're seeing. You know what I mean? If you don't know, find somebody who does and get it reviewed. So that way you know you're not getting got. I ask, when I see something, I ask so many questions, they get tired of me. I'm like, listen, I need to understand this. I don't get it. Tell me more. Why is this? Why is this that? Why can't I get this? You know?
Agreed.
Somebody asked a question. This is a good one. Do you need to provide documents for a streamlined refi?
Yes. Not full docs though, but you need to provide copy of your mortgage statement, Move, dude. Copy your mortgage statement, your ID. Some banks may ask for a utility bill, but that's really it.
Nice.
Not too many documents. No appraisal needed either. Link in my bio to
Yeah.
apply.
There
Nationwide
you go.
financing available. Let's go.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, what else you got? No pay stubs though. He just told you
No,
everything you needed. I
no,
think
no,
there's a
no,
delay. I think.
no pay stubs, but we gotta verify employment. So if you're on furlough, you don't have a job, you can't qualify. You need a job. It will be verified.
Now, actually, there's a good question here. Somebody was asking me the other day. They're on FMLA. They're on leave from their job. They're not unemployed. They're just on leave. How does that affect them?
Do you get a paycheck next week?
That's a good question. I didn't ask him that. So I'll let him know that if you have a paycheck and you can show it, then you're good. If you can't, then you're not good.
Exactly.
Let me see what other questions is popping up. I mean, listen, I'm going to answer the question for him because I don't want him to rip you apart. How does the FHA 203K pre-approval work? Similar to most other loans, but
Yeah, you're stupid, Aaron.
So I'm gonna help you out on this one. Just make sure you have your pay stubs ready. Know what your credit score is, but they're gonna ask you that, or they're gonna run your credit, and they're gonna check your debt to income ratio. And he kind of explained that, kind of the percentage wise. There's a certain level that you need to be at. So, and that he could tell you the exact percentage that you can qualify for, but understand what that really means.
But hold on, let me add to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you. I knew you was gonna give a little clarity.
If you're telling me, if anyone, and again, I can't see the comments, so I don't know who asked that, right? If you are telling me you want to do a rehab loan, and if I ask you, do you have a contract, and you tell me no, then you should not be worried about a pre-approval. You should be worried about finding a contractor and interviewing your contractor and knowing who you're going to hire, because the contract is the most important piece to the 203K loan. Because
Amen.
we need to have information from them. They need to understand how they're going to get paid. They need to understand what documents that we need from them. They need to be licensed. They need to be insured. They need to have all their ducks in a row, because the bank is going to vet out the contractor along with you. So if you're trying to buy a home and using a 203K, and if you don't have a contractor who's licensed, insured, and has experience with using F203K loans, then you need to work on that part, I think, personally, before you even try to get pre-approved. You got to have your team important. I know, Harold, you speak on team building.
All the time.
It's very important. No one's successful in real estate, especially from an investor standpoint, without having a team. If you don't have a team, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice. So build yourself your team first before you start worrying about pre-approvals and stuff like that. Learn the programs inside out, so that way when it's time for you to get pre-approved and time for you to execute, you have your team and your knowledge all together.
Amen. Now I'm gonna give you guys an example, right? So I do invest out of state. Like there's a city that I love and I want to invest in, which is Philadelphia. I can't find a contractor that I feel comfortable with. I got a young man that I was mentoring that he just moved there, and him and his partner just became contractors. So when they got the bandwidth to take on my jobs, I'm a rock with them because now I got a team I can trust. Otherwise, I can't do business in that town if I don't have somebody I can rock with, because I've been through it. I've been bent over and not kissed. Okay, so I'm never going through that again, and I refuse to even absorb those type of things. So you have to have a team that's capable. Remember, I told you. I don't know if you heard what I said before. A 203K loan contractor, unlike any other contract, they have to be financially strong enough to do the job out of their own pocket and then get paid back by the bank.
Correct.
Okay, so just make sure y'all guys understand that. So that means if the job is $100,000, they need to have $100,000 able to do the work. Well, to be real, they probably need about 25, but because they'll get draws back. But in reality, they still need to be strong enough just in case. They got to have the right bonding, the right insurance, all that stuff. And not every contractor is capable of doing that. So it can't be your friend, it can't be your cousin, can't, unless they got that kind of, that kind of capital available to them.
Agreed.
All right. Oh, hold up. How do you prove income from having stocks as your main income? That's a good question.
It's capital gains income, right? And
Yep.
are you first of all, there's a difference between realized and unrealized gains in the stock world, right? Just because your brokerage account may be up, if you didn't sell your positions, you didn't make no money, right?
Correct.
So that's first things first. Number two, if your main income is from stocks, are you claiming it on your taxes? Because capital gains income can be used if you have a 2-year history. So you don't need to have a W-2 job or pay stubs to get qualified for conventional FHA financing. If you have capital gains income from stocks, if you are showing enough of that income on your tax returns, then that income can be used to qualify you.
So what's interesting, and I think I read in the comments when it was passing by, it sounds like this guy has, he's kind of like Wall Street, where he uses dividends as his incomes, which is capital gains or passive income. So as long as you can show for 2 years and it's strong enough to qualify you for whatever size property you're trying to purchase, you should be fine. But you got to be able to prove that and have it documented on your either Schedule C's or however you're doing it. If you're doing it through your LLC or doing it personally.
Correct.
What qualifications and credit scores needed for a VA-backed loan?
600 for most VA lenders.
Okay, great. By the way, guys, I'm giving y'all extra bonus time tonight, so y'all better be appreciative.
How many people are right now?
205.
Woo! Shout out to
206.
206 of y'all, man. Make sure y'all like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share.
Yeah, make sure. And listen, by the way, for all y'all who don't know, it might be the first time you're following me. On my bio, free resource, I have a 30-day real estate ready roadmap, kind of giving you some of these steps of how to build your team, who you should be looking for, how to put all this together. So if you didn't take notes, you were driving like Matt's doing right now, and you couldn't write it down, and IG messes this up. I know that you heard what I said. There's a 30-day ready roadmap, so that way before you come to Matt, you have all your stuff in order, so that way you can make your deals happen. All right. And then even there, I'm coaching some stuff on that. If you become part of the list, I'll do some training on that. If you want one-on-one coaching, you have an opportunity to jump on that as well on my bio. Like I said, you could partner with me on deals. You can become a capital partner. You could be the bank with me, and you'll gain interest on your money. So you can earn and learn at the same time. I mean, I don't know what's better than that. So if that's something interested you, just go on my bio. Not my bio, but my page. Email me. Put that in the subject header, and I'll hit you back. Everybody knows I answer my stuff. I'm not as busy as Mr. Mortgage Guy here. But do give me 24 hours. Can you use a VA loan on your first property and an FHA on another?
Yes.
Ooh, that was a good one.
As long as it's your primary residence.
Nice. So no, but let me answer this. So let's say they buy a VA loan, right? Let's say they bought a 2-family, and 6 months later they want to move and buy, I don't know, and I'll be nice and say a single family so that it doesn't look crazy. Is that plausible being in that VA loan and then moving to the FHA?
Do it. Live in it for 1 year, then move out and go buy your next property. And then
there you go, everybody. I want to make sure you guys were covered.
As your primary, all right. Then you're fine.
All right, let's see. What's another question? Okay, no, we answered that one already. If a lender automatically put points in the loan, can I renegotiate the points off at the same rate?
Probably not.
They're going to tell you they have to do that to get you your rate. That's going to be their answer.
Yeah, they're going to tell you everything under the blue sun for them not to remove those points. So, again, you make your money in real estate when you buy, not when you sell, right? So, in mortgage rates, if you try and negotiate anything, you need to negotiate that before you lock in. Because once
Correct.
you lock in and you have those points, there's no renegotiating that. Unless you make a big stink about it and you threaten to fire them, then maybe they may give you a little bit of wiggle room to eat some of it. But in most cases, nah, you're done.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
This is again knowing the business, like knowing what questions to ask. Somebody's calling your rate. How many points? Are there points? What are the fees? Don't just hear a rate because it's more than just a rate.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm gonna give you another one to look at. When you see your rate and you see your truth in lending statement, look at your APR. That's the real. Well, that's what you're really paying. FYI. Let's see. Can you use Naca on your first, FHA on your second, and a 5% conventional on your third?
God, like, what are you trying to do here? Like, come on. like, anything is possible, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if it's structured properly and you do it the right way, yeah, it's possible. You know, you go Naca 4-family, FHA 3-family, and then you're like, I'm gonna buy a duplex. Nah, you're probably gonna have to do, if you go duplex for that next one, conventional, you're not gonna get 5%. Now, if you go 4-family Naca, 3-family FHA, 1-family conventional, 5%. Now that could work.
Okay.
That
Okay.
could
See,
work.
he just gave you a blueprint. There you go.
That's a fact.
Um, how soon after an investment purchase can you refi if you did work to it?
Right away. Refi.
Now, so as a matter of fact, while I got you, can you explain seasoning to everybody so they understand what that is?
So seasoning basically is, long story short, you have to be in the you have to make a certain amount of payments in the house, you know, on the mortgage, I should say. You have to make a certain amount of payments before you're able to refinance. So a lot of programs want you to make at least 6 payments. Some programs will say 12 months of payments, right? Or 12 months of seasoning, 6 months of seasoning. It's just a certain amount of time that has to lapse of you having this mortgage before you're able to do a transaction on that same property. That's all
Now, and
seasoning
is that
is.
and is that included on the hard money side of things? Like after you have hard money for let's say 6 months, is that considered seasoning?
Yeah, yeah. Once you have hard, you talking about on the refi?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're fine. You can refinance because 9 times out of 10, you're going to another private investor, asset base. So they're not going to really have seasoning requirements. Seasoning is only going to really come into play when you're dealing with conventional or FHA loans for the most part.
Correct. So, and then, listen, I mean, obviously that's the cheapest money. So if you can get that, people get it. But again, remember all the things we taught you earlier. Make sure your numbers make sense and they work. So that way you don't
Exactly.
have to come out more out of pocket. All right. Let's see. What's other questions? I'm trying to get while he's driving. I'm giving you the bonus time tonight, and you got the bonus 3. So you get so everybody knows we're giving out 3 home buyers blueprint and 3 hours of coaching on us.
And
So
whoever doesn't get the blueprint, if you want to get the blueprint, DM me the word blueprint. Just only DM blueprint, and I'll send you a link so you get 80% off. I'm only looking for the word blueprint. So please don't have blueprint mixed in with a whole paragraph because I'm not going to see it. I'm not even going to hold you up. If I see
there,
blueprint, that's what I'm going to go to. I'm going to send you the link.
there you go. Does a refi restart your loan? Yes, but I'll
If
let
you
I'll let
if
Matt
you
explain that a little bit.
It's all on your terms, right? On the refinance, you can do 30-year, 20, 25-year, 20-year, 15-year, 10-year. If you want to maximize your savings, then yes, you'll go back to a 30-year, right? Because that's going to give you the best savings. I don't worry about restarting my loan. I don't give a damn about that stuff. I care about cash flow, flexibility. You know what I mean? So you can always pay down your loan. Like people trip me out when they say, "Oh, but I'm starting over. I've been in it for 3 years." Like, I mean, who cares? You probably was
Oh,
never
if
a
you only
home.
been in 3 years, then you really didn't do nothing anyway.
You didn't, even if you've been in it for seven. If you've been in it for 7 years, you didn't really do nothing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
seven is that magic number. After 7 years, maybe, but that first 7 years, you're paying mostly interest.
You're paying
FYI.
mostly. you're paying mostly interest, but ultimately at the end of the day, like, take the cash flow and still pay down your principal balance to beat the interest trap. But take the cash flow and be smart about what you're doing with the cash flow.
Correct. And unfortunately, I've seen many people, and hopefully none of you on this live will make the same mistake that they take that cash flow and go buy a depreciating uh, garbage and then complain later on, and then they need to refi again and use their house as a piggy bank rather than using it as a way to build generational wealth or
Facts.
wealth in general. Wealth in general. How about that?
Facts.
Come on, folks. Let's do the right things. You guys, you're going to be the most educated generation in history. What are you going to do with it?
You know what? Shout out to the curly herbalist. She just DM'd me the word blueprint. I just saw it come on my screen. So shout out to you. I'm gonna bless you with the blueprint as soon as we get off of this. Um, yeah, you're right. This is the most educated generation ever. There was no look. Think about it. How many people on the live right now? Because I can't see.
187 right now.
So
190 just
so
jumped
we
again.
so we got 190 on the live right now. Think about this. This is like a seminar, right? A lot of seminars don't get 190 people on it. So this is, no, seriously. Like, I've been in a
It's
lot of
real talk.
seminars, 5 people show up. Like, so you got to think about what we're doing right here. And I know we're having fun and games. I know I sound, crazy sometimes because I just be ranting. But think about the information that we've learned in this short period of time. Like, there's a lot of information that went through here, and if you guys use this information and you're really taking notes and you're applying it to your situation, you're on top. Whether you're ready today or you're ready from 12 months from now, if you're not ready today, your main focus should be learning. It should be building your foundation. Your foundation is education. The more you're educated, shout out to the Journey 6126 who wants the blueprint also. I just saw that one, right? So if you build your foundation properly and when you're ready to execute, you're going to be head over heels anybody else who's rushing to get into things just to say, hey, I did this. You know what I mean? Take your time with
Absolutely.
this. Everything happens in God's divine time. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I'm going to give you a caveat though, folks. I don't want to hear analysis, paralysis by analysis. Like there is too much education. You do have to move and learn at the same time to some degree. All right, folks. I
No,
mean,
I agree with
you
that.
get the foundation, and then you got to start making moves, right? Like you can't get your masters,
Yeah.
and then not do anything. Go out in the real world. So.
At some point, you got to get off the couch.
Yes, yes, yes. This is a good question too. Do you recommend going with the original lender or shopping around again?
Oh my God! Look, guys. Look, guys. Let me teach y'all something real quick, right? Because I get this all the time. Original lender shopping around. First of all, fuck the lender. Stop looking at lenders. Like, stop looking at I'm going with Chase Bank or I'm going with Wells Fargo or I'm going with ABC Mortgage Company. Fuck that. You need to build a team. Who's your mortgage guy? Who's your mortgage girl? Right? Who is that person that you identify with? Now, if you already purchased a home and you still saying, maybe I should go to this lender or shop this, that means you didn't build a relationship. That means you didn't hire a team member. You just had an order taker. And they did nothing to be a part of your team. So they did a tremendous disservice to you because now you still have to search for money, right? Your mortgage girl and your mortgage guy is one of the most important pieces of your real estate team because that person, he or she should be able to take you from one property to 10 properties because they know your real estate goals. If you're going to a loan officer at any one of these banks and if they're not asking you, what are your real estate goals? That's a very
Boom.
that's a very simple question. What are your real estate goals? If they don't ask you that, they're not in it for your best interest. You know what they're in it for? That one transaction. Because you're an emotional home buyer and you're coming to them with emotions about, I want to buy my first home. And they're being the order taker and saying, hey, welcome to McDonald's. Do you want fries with that? Right? That's what they're doing, right? They're not
Uh,
asking you, what are your goals? Where do you want to go in your life? Because your first deal is going to set you up for your 10th deal if structured properly. This is what we've been talking about. It's structuring. How to make, how to use real estate financing to achieve your real estate goals. And part of my goals, and I know, look, some of y'all might not, you know, rock with the way I speak, but I speak from my heart and I speak real and I talk the real shit because I'm not trying to babysit none of y'all. I'm trying to tell you this is 20 years, almost 20 years of experience speaking to you, and I'm telling you what you need to be looking for and asking. And if your people are not asking these questions, they're not in it for the long run. They're in it to make a deal happen and close so they can get paid today. And if you come back to them in the future, okay, great. If not, oh well. It doesn't matter. That's not a real estate person. That's not someone you need on your team. So stop worrying about these fucking lenders, man, for crying out loud. Interview your team. Make sure that loan officer has the bandwidth and the capacity to help you grow to the next level. Because if they don't have that
Amen.
bandwidth, if they don't have the products, if they don't have the product knowledge, if they don't invest themselves, if they don't have property, if they don't have nothing going on for themselves, how can they help you better yourself? Man, don't get me start preaching on here.
So
Don't.
listen, folks. He just gave you another piece of the blueprint, right? Like, if you don't have somebody that you can lean on, like to give you that info, to make sure that you're growing and you're building, right? Because they're gonna want to, like, if they know that you want to build an investment portfolio, they should be in your ear all the time, giving you ideas and concepts and here's the best program to use, here's a better way to do stuff, because they know that you're trying to build something and they want to build it with you, and they want to be there for the long term haul, as they say. There's a reason why Matt and I have survived this real estate jungle for
Uh-huh.
nearly 20 years. This August makes 19 years I've been a licensed sales, broker, or agent, whatever case, and I've been investing since '06. So there's a reason we survived, right? We build relationships and we learn how to do it. This conversation is based on relationship, by the way, everybody.
That's a
Now,
fact.
here's a good question. Thoughts on taking a HELOC on your primary residence to purchase investment properties? I love it as long as you do it the right way.
Likewise.
It's as simple as that. Don't use it like a credit card. Use it to buy. Like, use all the information we just gave you. Make sure your numbers make sense. Make sure you use it, because understand, so remember how a HELOC works. Once you take the money, you start paying immediately, right? You got 30 days. So if you're gonna start paying for something, make sure you're gonna get an ROI back fairly quickly, or at least in a reasonable amount of time, and you have the bandwidth to make the payment while you're doing the deal. It's as simple as that. You got to have an exit strategy because you got to pay back that HELOC. So this, remember I told you, men and women lie, numbers don't.
Agreed.
All right, let's see. Is there a good time to try to remove PMI being on if the value of the property jumps?
Absolutely. Get rid of that shit.
Now, hold up. Let me ask you something. Is this accurate that FHA PMI is forever?
If you put down less than 10%, yep,
When at the time of purchase?
correct.
All right. So no matter, even if the equity grows, it's forever.
Doesn't matter. It's forever.
Yeah.
And if you
All
put
right.
down
So,
10,
so
if you put down 10% or more, then it goes away year 11.
okay. Nice. All right. I didn't know that part. Thank you for that new gem for me. That's good to know. 10% or more, year 11, it disappears. Got it.
Correct.
All right. And typical conventional lending, let's say Fannie Mae and Freddie, it's after the 20% equity cap is reached, right?
So here's the thing with conventional PMI, what people don't know, right? So the streets will tell you, and the internet will say, once you get 20% PMI, you can remove it or request for it to be removed. Once it gets 78%, it can go away, right? So what people look at is they think when the house appreciates, right? But in the contracts of PMI, a lot of them say they're going off the original appraised value for that 20%. So if you bought a house for 400,000, and let's just say you put 5% down, right? And now you need your house goes up to 600,000, right? And you owe, let's just say 350. In hindsight, you're like, yo, I got way more than 20%. My PMI can drop off. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. The PMI contract might state it's off of the original appraised value of the house that you have 20% equity before they would even consider dropping it. Some of them will say you have to be in the house or have the loan for a certain period of time, 2 years, 5 years, 4 years, 7 years before the PMI can drop off. So it's very important, guys, and I teach this in the Home Buyer's Blueprint also. It's very important you understand, if you're going conventional, what's the terms of your PMI insurance. People don't know that because people automatically think 20%, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot more that goes into PMI than what people know. That's another.
See, listen, I just learned something. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, this is why I'm the mortgage guy, Harold. This is why I'm the mortgage guy.
Exactly. And that's why I tell people, sometimes they ask me questions. I said, listen, I got some general info, but I am not a mortgage person. You know, talk to your mortgage person to get the, the official answer. And that's a mortgage person question. Listen, I know a lot. I don't know everything. That's not my job. This is what he does. This is Matt the Mortgage Guy. There's a reason why that's his IG name. You know what I mean? You want to talk real estate? We want to talk real estate properties? Let's talk. Let's see. I mean, this is an interesting question, but it's not that hard either. I'm something. I'm gonna leave this one off because I don't want you to rip him. So we'll leave that one off for a second. I'm gonna answer this question since somebody's asking me to direct. Harold, what are your partnership requirements? Partnership requirements is that you're not taking your last dollar to partner with me on a deal. That this is money that you can live without for 6 to 12 months. If you cannot live without that money for 6 to 12 months, please don't ask me to even talk about a partnership deal or to be a capital partner, because the capital partner requirement is 12 months. It might happen faster that I get it back to you, but I'm letting you know the agreement, my paperwork says 12 months. So if you can't live without that money for 12 months, don't reach out. Okay? Now, again, can it happen faster? Of course it can. But I'm a conservative individual. I like to sleep good at night. I don't want to worry, and I don't want people calling me every 30 days, every 10 days. Is the deal done yet? Is the deal done yet? Is the deal done yet? Don't do that, because that's a quick way for me to say, here's your money back. Good luck. God bless. I can't, and don't talk to me ever again. FYI.
I like that.
So, and I'm gonna steal this line from Grant Cardone, which shout out to you for rocking with dude. Remember, I'm the professional, right?
Shout out to Grant.
You know what I mean? I'm the professional. So do I want your opinion? No. There's a reason why you trust me. So let me do what I do. Let me teach you. And then if you want to do something else with somebody else, feel free. And I'm not even trying to be funny with it. I'm just trying to, because I had sometimes people bring stuff and I'm like, yo, but if you could do that, why are you here?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So, and now don't get me wrong. Everybody has different ways to skin the cat. I told you that. There's so many different ways to make money in real estate. I follow a tried and true strategy that's been successful for God knows how long. If you want to get creative, feel free, but it's not with me.
I like that.
All right. Let's see. One last question, since I'm telling you, I give it. That's the one thing with Matt. If you're gonna be on live with him, be ready to go the long haul.
That's a fact, because I just looked at the time and I'm like, damn, I've been on here since fucking 9 o'clock, 9:15. Like, geez, Harold, you getting a lot right now.
There you go.
Shout out to Harold though. Harold's been A1 since day one though.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that.
Here's a good. Like a month ago. And
yeah, no, listen, and look, life happens, man. Life happens, and it's all good. Listen, like you said, in God's plan, there might have been some people who may not have been on at that month ago that's on tonight that you just changed their life. You know what I mean? God willing, and we pray about that, just so y'all know. So somebody asked, is it better to do a refi or a Heloc? Like if you're pulling money out to do a deal.
I don't know.
I was about to say I was gonna say it depends.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, like, look, look, it's different strokes for different folks, is what they say, right? You just
Yep.
got to understand the programs. A HELOC is a 10-year interest only. Um, you can continue to draw from it if you have availability, kind of like a credit card. You use it, you pay it off, you have availability, et cetera, et cetera. After the 10 years, it's a 20-year fix, and it's going to be a much higher interest rate, right? A cash out, and you don't pay on the HELOC if you're not using the money, right? So if you have $100,000 HELOC, but you only use 10,000 of it, you're only paying on that $10,000. But if you do a cash out refinance, you're paying on that money in 45 to 60 days when that first payment is due, even if you deploy that capital into other investments or not. A cash out refinance on a one family for conventional, you can go up to 80% financing. Some banks will give you up to 90% on your HELOCs, right? So sometimes I do a combination of both. You know what I'm saying? 80% on the cash out and maybe a 10% HELOC, right? Just all depends on the situation. Everybody's situation is different. So I think once you understand your LTVs, you understand the programs, DTIs, your overall situation, it makes it much easier for you to determine what's best for you versus me telling you what's best for you. I love when clients come to me and say, "Yo, this is my scenario, Matt. I have this FICO, my LTV is this, I know the program is this, I want this, blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Oh shit, we can roll now because you educated." But and if you're going up to, and this is not just with me, if you're going up to any loan officer with that education and you talking their lingo, number one, they're going to know you're educated, even if you just read it 2 minutes ago before your phone call, right? They're going to think you're so educated that they're not going to try to pull a wool over your eyes. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be like, oh, this person's sophisticated. I can't bang them out. You know what I mean? I can't try to make more money on them than I would on somebody else. It happens every day. So the more you learn, the more you earn.
Absolutely. Absolutely, people. Don't mind me. I'm typing to an answer while you were talking. Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Bam. All right. Now, let me see what's this other question that's popped in. Let's see. 1 minute ago, I'm looking for the 1 minutes ago. Credit score, that's good. Oh, what are points? Just for those who don't know.
Points is 1% of your loan amount. So if you got $100,000 loan, 1 point is equivalent to $1,000. That money is used to buy down your interest rate. So typically with all banks, if you buy down your rate and you spend the point, you probably brought down your interest rate a quarter of a point to 3/8 of a point. So let's just say the rate was 3% with no points, right? But the loan officer says if you spend 1 point or 1% or $1,000 on $100,000 loan, your rate will go to 2.75%. Now what you got to see, is it worth me paying that 1,000 for that quarter percent lower? Because now how you determine that is what's the difference in monthly payment, right? And how long would it take you to recoup that 1 point that you just paid? So that's points in a nutshell.
There you go. All right, hold on. Boom. Let's see, what's another question before we jump out of here? Let's see. Did I miss any questions? All right, I bought my home, FHA. I'm coming up on 1 year on the home. I want to start renting this summer. Can I put it in my LLC name while it's still under FHA, or do I need to refi?
I didn't. You were going in and out. I didn't hear that question.
No, all right. So I bought my home on FHA. I'm about to be 1 year. I'm paraphrasing. I want to start renting it out soon, this summer and put it under my LLC while it's still under. Can I still do it while it's under FHA, or do I need to refi?
All right, Google, everyone. This don't work because I get this question every day, and I really can't really go into this right
You're
now.
breaking up a little bit, just so you know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
All right. So I need everybody to do some homework, right? Google "do on sale
Uh-oh, you're breaking up.
clause."
You're breaking up again. Okay.
I'm back. I'm back. I don't know what just happened, guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Nah, no worries. You good. We got you. But I think they heard what you said. Some people they typed it in for me. They said the due at sale clause or due. Is
Yeah,
that what?
do as sales clause. So anytime you buy a house, especially when you're using FHA conventional, you structure the deal as a primary residence. They have on in your mortgage note. The mortgage note is probably 10 pages that nobody reads, right? They just sign, but you don't even know what you're signing, right? And in that mortgage note, it says if you transfer ownership of this property without the written consent of the bank can call your loan due. So when you have an FHA loan, which is a primary residence, and now you flip it to your LLC, you just violated your due on sales clause. Now they could come back and say, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, you violated this due on sales clause, which is in your contract, paragraph 35, section ABC." You know what I mean? You owe me $500,000 tomorrow, or I'm going to foreclose on you. Now,
Oof.
am I going to say, is this going to happen? No, but do you want to be the example?
So, everybody, what I realize, some of you are new to my live, so you haven't heard me talk about this. If you have an FHA mortgage, and let's say you have a four family, I'm going to use that as the prime example, and you're collecting rent on 3 units, you can have an LLC that is a management company that runs the business of your property and still keep your name keep the property under FHA, under your under your primary name, but you can run the business of the building through your LLC, which then in turns you can get some business write-offs, build business credit, you can do all that stuff. And you don't risk the FHA, do a sale clause. So take my advice. If you have an FHA mortgage, but you still want to have a business that runs the that runs the business, create an LLC, an S corp or the like, and then collect your rents, write the leases, everything under your LLC. You'll be good to go. All right. Anything you do for the home, as far as for the tenants, is a write-off. Your personal house, personal unit, no. But everything else for them, yes. Lawn care, snow removal, all considered a write-off under the management of the LLC. FYI. That is your grand tip of the night for those who want to have an LLC and still have FHA or Naca or any one of these primary residence loans. Now, when he comes back, we're going to cap this at 11 o'clock. I think 2 hours is sufficient enough. We just gave you a full seminar on this live. And like I said, if you don't share this with people, shame on you. Share the wealth, share the knowledge. If you want more tips like we're sharing, if you ain't following Matt, make sure you follow him. If you ain't following me, make sure you follow me. I do this every Wednesday night, 9 out of 10 times, obviously barring a holiday and or family event. But you could check with everybody. You could check my page. I'm pretty damn consistent. We have guests. Sometimes I do it on my own, but we're always, teaching, giving them away information that can change your life. So I'll give him about a minute or so to see if he comes back on, because he might be in an area that his signal is not the greatest. But I want to make sure at least he says good night to everybody. And I'm going to say good night. It's been a long day. Yes, I'm going to definitely try to save this once this is done. And let's hope and pray that IG don't mess it up. And hopefully, I should have screen recorded this one just in case on my other phone. Do I need an LLC partner? No, you don't need an LLC, but it's advisable to have one, but you don't need one. You don't need an LLC to partner with me, but it's advisable to have one, just because if you want to use that LLC later for another deal, you can show that it was part of the deal. But as long as you were part of the deal, I'll give you paperwork that shows you were part of the deal. They'll show that you were part of the that'll be part of your track record when you go to another lender and they ask you about your track record. You can show that you were part of these deals. This will be on my IGTV, because as long as this is, it's going to be an IGTV thing. Exactly. You can't write off everything. Oh, good. You don't get in trouble with IRS. That's the worst tax collectors in the world. Our pleasure. I'll check if he's coming back on. If not, we'll call it shop and call it a day. I'm texting. All right. And that's my email below, but you can also go to my page and press email and then put the like I said, capital partner or this partner up on a property. You could put that in there and we go from there. So there's a couple different ways I do partnerships. We could talk about it. I love LLCs. S corps are good. C corp, unless you're building. Talk to your tax. Listen, when it comes to how you want to set up your LLC or S corp, talk to your tax professional for the best way, depending on how you want to set everything up. That's the best answer I can give you, because everybody's situation might be a little bit different. It all depends on how you are set up, whether it be W-2, your own business, things of that nature. Is renting a room in my apartment is legal if I'm legally renting apartments out of a multifamily? Is renting a room in my apartment? Oh, well, it depends on the code in the town and area that you are. Every municipality has different laws on that. Sometimes you have to have a license to rent. Sometimes you can sublet, like, you can have, a roommate. So there's different ways to do it, but you just have to be mindful and know what the local laws require. All right. And we will, let's see, we got one more minute. All right. Any last questions before we roll? Oh no, always set up your rental in the LLC. Always like if it's a true investment property and you're not living in it, put it in the LLC. Protect yourself. It protects you from liability. Because if you have it under your personal name and God forbid somebody sues you, they can go after any asset that's under your personal name. So that means your primary residence as well. So if you have a rental property that you're not living in, I strongly suggest to put it under some form of another entity, whether it be a corp or LLC. LLCs are preferable. It's probably the best tax advantages. So that would be what I suggest. And then one last question popped in. Let's see. Geez, this thing doesn't come in order. Let's see. All right, I don't know if I missed it, but forgive me. So everybody, I appreciate everybody joining. Again, reach out if you have anything. If you haven't, like I said, get that 30-day roadmap. Let's see something real quick. I'll let my man come say hello real quick before I say goodnight. My man Drew Bernard, what's good, family?
What's good, brother? Just wanted to shout you out. I see you guys doing big things tonight.
Yeah, we trying to be like you, brother. We trying to be like you.
Brother. But you're doing the right things, man. You're doing the right things. You guys spreading the information, spreading the wealth, generational wealth. That's how, like for years they try to keep this information from us. Today I posted about how like the odds of making it to the NBA are like 1 in a million. Like there's a million dudes out there trying to get into the NBA, and
exactly.
Even the dudes that do make it in, most of them will get bounced out within the first 4 years.
Correct. Same thing in the NFL. 3.5 years is the average career.
Exactly. So cats is prepping all day, is trying their whole life for a 1 in a million shot that you probably got like a 4 year run at, you know?
And then
Um,
whereas in real estate, like, if you're willing to put the work in, everybody could do it.
Everybody could do it, like it's so funny because like in the town that I live in, right? I live in Englewood Cliffs. I think it's probably like me and like 6 other black people in the whole town. And and the whole, like, when I first moved there, it's just like, is he is he an entertainer, or is he an entertainer,
Athlete.
or an athlete? All right. So that's the stigma that we gotta shake. And through this wealth building model, like this ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Alexander Hamilton and George Washington, they was getting money, and Benjamin Franklin, them dudes, they was getting real estate money back in the day. You know?
Listen, Benjamin basically built a city.
Yeah,
So there you go.
exactly. So
You know what I mean? So
so
no, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you shouting me out. I appreciate when you came on my live. If y'all didn't catch that, that's on my page as well. Catch the knowledge that he dropped on my live. This was one of my guests. So I call, as my earned me leisure say, this is alumni right here. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, so everybody, listen, hit us up. We're giving out the information. We're trying to help change lives. We've been blessed, so we're looking to be a blessing to people. I'll answer one last question for you guys. How do you put your investment property in the LLC if you have a loan in your name? The loan, you can be a guarantor for the loan and still have the property in the LLC as long as you put enough money down for that lender. So that won't stop you from putting the deed in the LLC.
one
But you
one
might be the
thing
guarantor for the loan.
one thing you have to make certain of, you know, is like if you should do like a deed transfer, like if you try to do it the cheap way and do it like a quit claim deed, make sure you put your you have your, what do you call it, down, your 1 second, up, I'm getting pulled over, am I? Anyway, um make sure that make sure that you get your title insurance involved, so that they are aware that it's the same entity, and they do not try to like void your title policy, because
Correct.
if you have
Correct.
a title policy in your name, and then you just do a deed transfer, like that's kind of breaking the chain of the title policy. So you have to make sure you call, and you probably have to pay a premium on your title policy, but it's to your advantage, you know
There's some more game, everybody. Look at that. Yeah, listen, this thing has been chock full. This is a damn seminar tonight, like I said. So everybody, make sure y'all rewatch this. Get on. I got to get some sleep, people. So I'm rocking with you. So my man Drew, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
so
shouting us out. Thank you for sharing the knowledge you share, and then what you're doing at the Brooklyn Bank, and what you're doing for the community. So keep it up, my brother.
my man.